Here's more wrestling news for February 17th, 2023, and we're starting off with WWE. And if you've watched their programming long enough, you will have seen a contract signing or two in your time as a fan. Usually these contract signings result in someone being laid out, but what exactly does a WWE match contract look like? This week, Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar made their match at Elimination Chamber official with a contract signing, and it turns out their contract was, on appearances, the real deal. In a report from Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful Select, he revealed that the Lesnar-Lashley contract contained a ton of legal jargon, and even read that the contract was drawn up in the state of Connecticut, the home of WWE's headquarters. Of course, this contract is just a prop, but Sapp explained that WWE writes up a genuine-looking contract for segments like what we saw on Raw in the event that the paperwork ends up on screen. It sure would look awkward if it was revealed that WWE superstars were signing a blank piece of paper on TV, so the next time you watch a contract signing, know that there really is a contract for the segment. Now, the past 12 months have been incredibly difficult for Kevin Nash, who lost two of the most important people in his life. In March 2022, Nash lost his best friend Scott Hall, and in November of last year, Big Daddy Cool's son Tristan would die at the age of 26. Last month, Nash shared a troubling message on his podcast where he spoke about having a gun in his mouth, but the Hall of Famer has given an update on his mental health. On Twitter, Nash has said he is slowly kicking out of the emotional strain he's been under and thanked everyone who has sent him love and support, saying it has had a positive effect on his life. Nash has experienced the worst thing any parent can go through, outliving their own child. And while we're pleased to see he is slowly making progress, we're continuing to send our support to him at this time. Earlier this week, the wrestling world lost Jarrett, the legendary wrestling promoter and father of Jeff. Jarrett worked with some of the biggest names of the wrestling industry at the time, and now one of WWE's biggest ever stars has paid tribute to him. In a video shared online, The Rock spoke about how Jerry was good to his father Rocky Johnson when the family fell on hard times, and was good to Dwayne himself when he had just $7 to his name. In a message to Jeff, The Rock encouraged Double J to stay strong in a message from one son of a wrestler to another, and spoke about the impact Jarrett had on the business. As a promoter, Jarrett spent most of his time behind the scenes, but the impact, and we're using that term quite literally given he was a founder of Impact Wrestling, Jarrett had, remains felt in the wrestling business today. As we saw at WrestleMania 38, Stone Cold Steve Austin remains one of WWE's most popular stars in history, despite the decades he wrestled full-time. It had been reported that WWE wanted Austin to compete this year, but no match has been confirmed yet, but fans will soon be seeing much more from the Texas Rattlesnake. This week, A&E announced that they will be expanding their WWE programming this spring with a new show centered around Austin, with the 10-part docuseries titled Stone Cold Takes on America. The show will premiere on April 30th and follow the bionic redneck as he travels in his RV across the US, accepting challenges from fans that push him out of his comfort zone. Following the news, Austin tweeted that he's excited to jump in his RV and hit the road, something that he never had the chance to do during his heyday because of his busy wrestling schedule. Before Stone Cold Takes on America, WWE will premiere the second season of WWE's Most Wanted Treasures, which will include Mick Foley, Booker T, and Lita, as WWE's relationship with A&E remains stronger than ever. Over to AEW, and it was in 2021 that Andrade El Idolo debuted after what many consider to be an underwhelming run on WWE's main roster, but his time being all elite hasn't been much better. Andrade has been out of action for months, both due to an arm injury and after picking a fight backstage with Sammy Guevara, but the former NXT champion is spending that time wisely. Speaking on To Be the Man, Andrade's father-in-law Ric Flair said that El Idolo is training like hell, and with one arm, has been working more on his legs. The arm injury in question was a torn pectoral suffered during a trios tag match on the House of Dragon special edition of Dynamite back in August last year, and Andrade even bragged about finishing the match despite the injury. Whatever plans Tony Khan has for Andrade, they won't be happening until Andrade is fully healed, but whenever that is, remains to be seen. Speaking of the All Elite company, fans will best know Kenny Omega for his work in AEW and New Japan, but what many won't know is that he was briefly a WWE superstar. While Omega never appeared on Raw or SmackDown, the Cleaner was once a developmental talent for the promotion, and in October of 2005 was sent to Deep South Wrestling. Omega's time in WWE did not last long, as he requested his release in August 2006, and it's clear he didn't enjoy his time under a full-time contract. Well, speaking to Monthly Puroresu, Omega said that the whole experience with WWE made him question his love for pro wrestling, and he even considered quitting the business as a whole. At the time, WWE had far less viable competition, and countless people saw the promotion as the only way to make a full-time living in the ring, so Omega's refusal to work there understandably made him doubt his future in wrestling. Thankfully, Omega didn't quit and has gone on to become a huge star outside WWE, and while that promotion has changed considerably in the 17 years since then, don't expect the Cleaner on WWE TV anytime soon. Recently, we reported on Rey Mysterio, who was confronted by so-called fans who wanted him to sign a ton of merchandise, which many suspected was going to be sold on eBay for a quick buck. Now, Zelina Vega has shared her own experience with this sort of fan, as on Instagram, she spoke about dealing with a fan who wanted an autograph or two. She wrote, "If you ask me to sign something at the airport, especially on my layover, I don't know how you found me there. And I do not sign all of the items you brought, and you snatched the marker out of my hand. I'm never signing for any of you again." WWE superstars are happy to sign autographs for fans, but there is a line that fans should not cross, and stalking wrestlers just to get them to sign a dozen pieces of merchandise is not how to do things. Zelina Vega has a ton of fans, though we're not sure if the person wanting a ton of merch signed is a fan, and just remember that if you ever meet a wrestler, they're a person too, and should be treated with respect. It was only months into Jeff Hardy's career with AEW that the charismatic Enigma was arrested and charged with his third DUI in under a decade. Hardy has spent the past 8 months suspended from AEW, and there's been some serious questions as to what the future holds for him in the ring. During a recent PW Insider mailbag, Mike Johnson was asked if Jeff's career was over, and said that shouldn't be the case at all. Johnson said that Hardy, for all his faults, is held in high regards within the wrestling world. Even if AEW were to release him, he wouldn't struggle to find work elsewhere. Tony Khan has said that he is supportive of Jeff and his decision to enter rehab after this latest arrest, but this will be his one and only chance for improvement in AEW. If convicted of the DUI he's pled not guilty to, Jeff faces up to 5 years in prison, so while he may be popular in wrestling circles, the decision to wrestle again may not be up to the charismatic Enigma. And we're ending today with the Super Bowl, and as tradition, last weekend's game featured a halftime show in which Rihanna made her first live performance in 5 years. Many people were thrilled to see the Umbrella star perform live, but WWE Hall of Famer Bill Goldberg wasn't pleased with what he saw. On the CarCast podcast, Goldberg said that Rihanna, who announced her pregnancy on the show, was freaking horrible, adding that he was disgusted by her horrible performance. Before entering the world of wrestling, Goldberg competed in the field as a football star. And do you agree with Bill's halftime show assessment? Let us know in the comments.